Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Dhan Guru Nanak, Dhan Guru Nanak, Dhan Guru Nanak. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Divine Will by Koji. The expression and manifestation of divine will in the cosmos is also called nature. This nature in its working extends, projects, and stretches to opposite extremes of similes versus variation, agreement versus opposition, harmony versus contradiction, affinity versus hostility, silence versus thunder, tenderness versus coarseness, common versus secret, subtle versus gross, thin versus thick, soft versus hard, depth versus height, horizontal versus vertical, life versus death, love versus hatred, virtue versus vice, kindness versus cruelty, compassion versus malice, heaven versus hell, good versus bad, God versus Maya. All creatures of nature possess limited intelligence and freedom, just enough to struggle for their survival, but the basic elements of their lives are governed by their inlaid instincts, which reflect the divine will. Human being is blessed with profound intelligence and freedom. But human being is blessed with profound intelligence and freedom, and hence only human beings are involved in these extremes. Amongst these extremes, ego consciousness is the most important and basic element around which man's life revolves. Man is so obsessed with and possessed by the sense of his ego that he is unable to think or act beyond his egoistic consciousness of I, me, and mine. In other words, he's under the spell of egoistic ghost, which will not allow him to think or act otherwise. This egoistic consciousness cannot just be ignored, denied, or eliminated by our wishful thinking. And as such fanciful ideas and hypothetic philosophies carry within themselves the seeds of egoistic consciousness, therefore the easiest way for this transformation is to divert or substitute our thoughts to sublimer consciousness of Godhead or Nam or Shabad. In this important and sublime process of transformation, the guidance and the company of illuminated and enlightened souls is very helpful and essential. The expression and execution of the divine will in the cosmos works in ineffable form of divine music. This celestial music is secret. This celestial music is secret, sacred, sweet, melodious, harmonious, subtle, exquisite, vibrating, thrilling, heart-rendering, charming, infatuating, intoxicating, and ecstatic. The symphony of this celestial music is being played through the core of every particle of the cosmos, continuously, without break, eternally, without instruments, without concert, and without orchestra. But human ears cannot hear, sense, realize, and enjoy the celestial music because it is beyond the grasp of human intelligence, understanding, rationale, learning, philosophy, and hypothesis. The divine symphony can only be heard, experienced, and enjoyed by our souls through meditation, third eye or divine intuition, and Guru's grace. The divine symphony can only be heard, experienced, and enjoyed by our souls through meditation, third eye or divine intuition, and Guru's grace. When mind is concentrated and turned inwards by meditation, it is ushered into the divine realm by the grace of the Guru, and intuitional consciousness is awakened and developed. Thus, the third intuitional ear is awakened to hear, experience, and enjoy the sweet melodious divine symphony within the soul. The soul is so charmed and exhilarated with every exquisite note, thrilling tune, and celestial song of the divine symphony rhythm, that it is exalted and infatuated to dance to the tune of the divine music. In this infatuating and ecstatic state of consciousness, mind is so overwhelmed and infatuated by sweet, blissful divine symphony that it is unable to think or act with his own individual will, and is spontaneously tuned to the divine will and works in conjunction with the divine law. Even a faint intuitional experience of the celestial music can so charm and infatuate the soul that the mind is ushered at once into the divine realm and is transmuted into an instrument of the eternal divine music. In other words, our mind must be influenced, inspired, reoriented, grafted, exalted, infatuated, intoxicated, and magnetized by the divine music to become an instrument of the divine symphony and to act in tune with the divine will. When our soul is awakened and illuminated with the divine Nam, it percolates, permeates, and transcends our very being, and we are filled with the divine love and bliss. Then we breathe in, live in, move in, work with, and have our being in divine consciousness, and get infatuated and intoxicated with divine bliss and love. The man is then transmuted and transformed into an embodiment of divinity. Like the fragrance emanating from flower, our soul spontaneously emanates and reflects the divine attributes of joy, peace, bliss, and love. The spiritual life of such a blessed soul constitutes and reflects intuitional experience of divine life current, Nam, enjoying vibrating thrill of effortless, spontaneous inner meditation, ecstasy in the divine bliss of Nam, exhilaration of the exquisite, sweet, melodious symphony of eternal divine music, intoxication in the rapturous bliss of captivating divine love, infatuation of ravishing and bewitching divine beauty, breathing, moving, living, and having our being in the divine grace, unconsciously emanating the fragrance of God's grace, becoming an instrument for the projection, manifestation, and working of divine will, basking in the cozy warmth of divine sunshine of Nam, living with every breath the true, vibrating, thrilling, eternal, universal, living religion, unknowingly reflecting and glorifying the infinite grace and greatness of the Lord. Koji.